Hey everybody, happy Friday. It's fun to be here with you. It's been a while since I've done one of these video things. Yeah, I'm excited to share about a new project that I'm involved with. Some of you have probably been checking it out on my blog, and yeah, give some updates and get into the inspiration behind it. But before that, just want to share a little bit about what's going on outside here. Had a very dry summer here in the Pacific Northwest. One of the driest on record. Thankfully, we've had a little bit of rain here and there. Landscape's still very parched, though. Grass is just brown. Just we're worried about wildfires. It's a big concern right now. But there are some signs that fall is returning. The geese have been getting together, honking, flying in formation. My wife had a pretty hilarious adventure with that when she went camping recently at Toll McDonald Park, which is right over there, west of where I am, less than a mile probably from where I am, or about a mile from where I am. She was out there camping, and yeah, maybe close to 100 geese just flocking together, honking, practicing their whole fall routine, getting ready for migration and such. And yeah, the salmon are in the Puget Sound, starting to head up the rivers. We haven't seen the salmon here yet in the Snoqualmie or Tolt River, but we'll be keeping our eyes out for them very soon. Looking forward to getting back into salmon fishing season, and taking my son out fishing. But my son Orion, who some of you know, who I've written about, shared about a bit, is at his first day of kindergarten today, which is awesome. He goes to school about 6 blocks that way to the north. At the Carnation Elementary School. Today is his first full day of school. So yeah, things are getting back into the swing of things for the fall. The apples have fallen off the trees in the backyard a little early this year. I guess one of them still has some apples on it, but man. And just saw a few little golden raspberries as some of the last crop of the season. Been having some fun squirrel encounters. The squirrels are going off the hook. The gray squirrels are alarming and chattering at each other, which they don't actually usually do here. And then I had a really fun little encounter with a chicory, a little Douglas squirrel. They're kind of like the red squirrels here, if you're familiar with red squirrels. So they're like loud and like gregarious and funny. And there's just one yesterday that was clearly had been kicked out of the nest, was on its own, and was just like jumping like sideways from tree to tree, like full of energy, vitality, fun, and clearly didn't quite know what to do itself. It was not gathering any nuts or anything that I could see, like the more mature gray squirrels that are hanging out in the neighborhood and are busy, stocking up on food. Well, as we move into the fall season, I'm excited to share with you about a project I'm working on. Like I said, I've been blogging about this the last few weeks through my website at www.primalnate.com. But I have been inspired from a few things to go deeper into a whole side of survival skills and awareness training that I think, a lot of you who are tuning into this are familiar with, but there's not a ton written about it. And I guess one way I would put it is kind of like some of the old guard in this profession are teaching less and less about this. And there's a whole new generation or two that probably are looking for information, excitement, inspiration, stories about what we could call scout skills, way of the scout. And a lot of you probably know what I'm talking about. And some of you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. And, one of the things that's tricky is like, how exactly do you talk about these things? So I guess I would say is like one of the ways I've thought about this recently is that there's a whole visible set of survival skills that include things like making fire, making shelter, getting your food, foraging, learning how to purify water. And then there's a whole other set of more subtle, slightly more invisible skills that are equally important and, involve things like awareness, moving silently, paying attention to the animals, reading the signs of the animals in the landscape, being able to disappear. And, one way of describing those skills is, scout skills, or the way of the scout. And, yeah, I had a couple of experiences this summer maybe even starting late spring, where this whole other side, this like much more invisible side, this shadow side of survival is one of the things I've called it, kind of popped right back into my life, into my awareness, and all these things happened around it. And I was like, oh, huh. And then I got inspired from some conversations with some friends to think about writing a book about it. And so that's what I'm going to be doing this fall. And this video is one of the things that I'm doing to get set for that. And basically, really, I had a friend. I went for a walk with a friend in the late springtime. It was probably back when it was still raining. And we walked just down south from my house along the Snoqualmie Valley Trail down into over by Rimlinger Farms, crossed over the Tolt River, and it was just a gorgeous day. And it was just one of those conversations where it just flowed effortlessly, right? And we were just talking about all sorts of wonderful, cool things, part about our lives, but also about, philosophy, about the kinds of things, the one of those conversations we've all had in our lives. And maybe as we get a little bit older, maybe those conversations are a little bit more rare and they're that extra special. And towards the end of that conversation, this friend shared with me some feedback about my impact on them around embodying these scout skills. And I was like, wow, like I had no idea. And it had been a big inspiration for them. And they were pretty excited about, what I had shared with them and wanted to know more. They're like, well, how did you learn these things? How did you get to where you are with these things? How did you learn to embody these things? And it was kind of one of those questions that you might call sacred question. And it really sat with me through the summer. Like it really kind of gnawed at me, like just gnawed at me, right? And then I had, this kind of by chance, but kind of not. My oldest kid, Katie, who's 17, was back this summer, ended up helping out at some wilderness awareness school camps, both a regular day camp, and they went up and participated in the Ranger Skills Overnight, which is a young teen camp. And Katie was one of the helpers. And this is basically like a sort of, overnight camp for teens version that has teaches some of the scout skills in it, things like camouflage, evasion, moving silently, listening to the concentric rings of nature, all these core things. And, spending time with Katie, getting them ready to go and have that experience, having them have that experience, and then debriefing with them and hearing their stories and seeing them come so alive and really come out of, something of a little bit of a malaise from, some of the challenges we've all had with COVID and social media, too much screen time, the stress of school, stress of work. It was just really wonderful. And then I ended up having a couple of conversations with some other friends, some of whom are writers. And then, just time with my kids this summer and then watching what happened when their nervous system got activated. And we were outside and we went from being a loud, kind of rambunctious group of people in the forest to suddenly we needed to sneak somewhere, or we had heard something and there was an animal over there, a frog we wanted to go stalk. And this is especially true of my son Orion, who's 5, almost turning 6, but also his older sister Tara, who just developed this hyper awareness and this ability to be in the water for almost hours at a time, up to like her waist in cold water in the Tolt River south of me, just focused and looked like a heron, like just bent over looking for sculpins. Like she was like constantly wanting to catch sculpins. And basically these experiences kind of came together and sort of unlocked one day of like, oh my gosh, there's a whole thing around this that I could share about. And so I'm in the process of putting that together. And the way that's looking right now is I'm doing some short little blogs about it, about once a week. And I'm doing this video. And I'm going to do a free webinar in a couple of weeks all about sort of the core arts of what I'm calling Scoutcraft. And the reason I'm turning choosing the name Scoutcraft is because, there's the term out there, bushcraft. And bushcraft is very comprehensive. it covers all sorts of different survival skills. And when you say bushcraft, people know what you're talking about. Well, you say scout skills or way of the scout, it's really difficult. Not everybody knows what you're talking about. So I'm trying to choose a new term, Scoutcraft, the craft of the scout. And I'll be talking about different archetypes and things like that. So I've been writing about that, posting about that, made a little Facebook group about that. But what I'm really going to do, and I'm quite excited about, is at the end of this month I'm going to launch a Kickstarter campaign. And there's going to be ways people can join in a Kickstarter campaign. And the sort of basic level is you just join and you're going to get a copy of a book I'm going to write, a digital copy. And then if you want to get a paperback copy, you can get a paperback copy. You want to get the hardback copy, you get the hardback copy. And then if you want to do a series of live webinars with me and get the books, you can do that. And if you want to do a class, like a course, an 8-week course, you can do that. So I'm putting all that together and it will launch at the end of this month. And yeah, I'm excited to see who reaches out, who gets to join in this project. I have been really delighted by sometimes old students reaching out to me, people I've known from years ago, maybe even decades ago, emailing me and talking to me about how excited they are about how this set of teachings around scout skills, awareness, the sort of shadow side of survival, camouflage, natural movement, is some of the biggest impacts, has had some of the biggest impact in their life, in all, compared to all the other skills they've learned, and how it's still with them. And I've also been delighted to hear how some people are keeping these things alive in their lives, even though they're off doing various different things. So if you want to keep in touch about this, you can always check out the YouTube videos, but you can also check out my website, www.primalnate.com. The free webinar, there's a mailing list I have, so you can join that and you can hop on for the free webinar in a couple weeks. And then about a week after that, I'll be launching the Kickstarter. And yeah, as always, just feel free to reach out to me. You can reach out to me through my blog. You can just comment on this video, all that stuff. I mean, all know about it. You're supposed to like it and share it and all that, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, maybe you shouldn't share it. Actually, don't share it. It's a scout video. Don't tell anybody about it. Don't share it. Don't like it. Pretend when you get this message, destroy it. Get rid of it. Don't let anybody know that you saw it. So anyway, I'm having fun with this. I hope you're going to have fun with this. And yeah, I'll be in touch. Thanks, everybody.